Welcome to episode 4 of Real Estate with the Carters. If today's your first time watching, I'm Annalyn Carter,
And I'm Christopher Carter.
and together we are the
Carters.
Carters. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for everyone that subscribe, like, and share. We ask that you continue to share, subscribe,
Definitely.
and click. Right?
Yeah, the notification bell.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. And
Oh,
then
you mentioned it's our fourth.
this is the fourth
Oh my-
episode.
oh, wow,
Yeah, it's been over a month.
It's a month.
It's a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of work has gone
A
into
lot-
it.
Indeed. It's eye opening for those persons who do like content creation. Kudos to them. Because just to setting up, sometimes it takes 2 hours just to set up to get the right lighting.
Pick out the right shirt.
Yeah, and just to get ready, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have a crew working
Right.
with you. It's
Yeah. I mean,
three-man show.
for
Thank
my
you for
wife-
my son who's filming this video. We do appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Yes.
For my wife, I was telling her today that I definitely need to get her a makeup artist, right? 'Cause-
Very soon.
Yeah, it takes her 2 hours to get ready. But I mean, all fun and joke aside, though, it's a lot of work. And so we thank those of you who have watched, those of you who have shared, who have liked. Please continue to do so. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to
Yes, we
doing
do.
many
We
more.
appreciate all the love and support that we've been getting.
Right.
Thank you guys.
Thanks a lot. All right.
So-
So for today, what's our topic today?
So we're gonna be discussing buying versus renting.
Oh wow, that age old debate, right?
Yeah, it's been
Yeah. So in the last 2 or so years, because of the prices, the home
interest
prices,
rate.
the interest rate, this debate has even more intensified.
yes, I agree.
Right, and there are people on different side of the spectrum regarding this. There's some that think buying is a way to go right now. There's some who still thinks
Renting is the way to
renting
go.
is the way to go. So what we want to do today is to kind of bring all the different arguments in one place,
Right.
so that
have
we
you guys
can
decide.
right give you some information.
Sure.
So if you're in the market to buy or to rent, then at least we're giving you some information to help you make that decision.
Yeah.
All right, so without further ado, let's jump into some of the considerations or some of the items you want to consider if you're in the market for either renting or buying.
Yes.
All right.
So the first thing that we're gonna discuss, well, when you're buying a home, one of the major things is maintaining the property.
Yeah,
right?
maintenance. Right.
Maintenance is super important, whether you're
Correct.
buying or renting.
Correct. Well, on the renting side, though, there's not much maintenance. It's the landlord that does the maintenance. So, in a sense, that cost is not really on the buyer. But if you own, definitely, from the AC, the roof,
Right.
electrical, plumbing, something may go bad at some point, and it's on you.
Right. So they typically say that when you buy a home, right, about 1 to 2%
Of the
of the cost of the home
Right.
that you should set aside in an emergency fund, so you'll have that to make whatever necessary repairs. However, if you're buying an older home, right,
Right.
that may require more repairs,
repairs,
than if you bought
correct.
something that was a turnkey move, right, turnkey,
Right.
So-
like something brand new.
right,
Right.
new
Yeah.
construction versus an older home that you're gonna
Right.
fix.
Right. And just to add to her, it's a very important point, because what you find is that, especially for homes like 20, 25-year home, then the roof, the AC,
Right. Those are things that start and go for, right?
yeah, before you know it, a roof is typically anywhere between 8 to 50,000. AC,
AC is about what, 15K.
yeah, for a good AC. Electrical. There's just so many stuff that can go AWire in a property. So as Zanet said, 1 to 2% of that purchase price you want to at least set aside. There's some other ways too of dealing with these repairs. There are contracts out there that you can buy that in case something goes bad in the home. These contracts it's like an insurance,
Okay.
right?
Right.
And-
Or
and-
warranties.
Right. So these are warranty contracts that you can buy, and what they do is you have monthly payments. You pay $200 a month, but in case the AC go bad or in case the fridge or some major appliances, then that major cost is not on you because then the warranty company is the one that for that cost. All right.
Okay. And then you
Um,
said that if you're renting, there none of these costs are
typical.
associated with you.
Right.
But sometimes I've seen in the contracts where a landlord may say that was it 250 or less that
Correct.
you may be
You
responsible for.
correct.
So it's
Correct.
a lesser cost to you as a renter
Correct.
opposed to if you own the property.
Right. If you're renting, typically the landlord is the one that deal with all the major stuff, but they may, as Anna just said, they may put in a contract that if something below 200, 250. So I've seen it.
Right.
I'm seeing it as much as $300. Where if the cost to repair it is within those boundaries, then the renter is the one that has to foot that cost.
All right.
All right. So we went over maintenance.
Yeah. Another thing that we consider between buying and renting is the flexibility that either gives you, right?
Correct. Correct.
So on the renter side,
Right.
you
So
say that you have more flexibility.
right. So on the renter side, I can usually lease is for 12 months,
Yeah, a year.
a year. Right. So I can I could theoretically move every year. So year one, I move to this state or this city. I don't like it. I can just get up the next year and move, and I can just keep doing that because I'm not. I don't have a long term obligation to this property. It's 12 months, right?
Right. And for
After
people who
12
don't
months,
like moving.
after 12 months, I can just pick up and move. Also, in the contracts too, you can stipulate that if you want to break the lease, it's 2 months.
Right.
So if you can pay that 2 months, you typically could move even sooner than 12 months. So there's a lot of flexibility there as it pertains to renters. What about the buyer?
Well, for buying, typically, if you're buying a home, I mean, you can move at any time because you can buy a house today
Right.
and then move tomorrow, but that entails you selling the home. So that comes
Correct.
with a cost, right?
Correct,
But
correct.
typically, most people, when they're buying a home, they're looking at staying there 5 years. A mortgage is what, 15 to 30
30 years,
years? But
correct.
most people buy it somewhere that they want to be for about 5 years.
They said the average person stay
Three-
between 7 to 10 years.
10 years?
Right, that's the average. I
Okay.
mean, most people they're buying a home, they're thinking 10 to 15 years at
Right.
least.
At least, right? So,
Right.
like I said, if you buy something, yes, you can sell it tomorrow, but that comes with a cost. So you have to think about the cost of selling that home. But
Right.
it gives you you have more, I guess, of a flexibility. You can be here, be in that home as long as you want. There's no, you have to get up and move. And one thing you didn't mention that if there is a landlord, the landlord could come and tell you, next year he's not renewing the lease, or
Right.
he's or say he's moving back and he
Right.
wants to live into that house,
Correct.
right?
All right.
So,
The
in
next
terms
one.
of flexibility, that's where we are. The freedom.
Right.
Right. And when we talk about freedom, we're saying like the freedom of doing, when you own a home, you can do whatever you want to this
Right,
house.
right,
You can do whatever landscape, you can do whatever upgrades,
Yeah. Orange.
you can
You
tear
can
down
paint
the
it orange.
orange, green, you can
Yeah.
tear down whatever walls you want in the
Right,
home to make it an
definitely.
open space, right?
Definitely.
So owning a home gives you the freedom to upgrade,
Yeah.
do whatever
Customize
landscapes
it.
in,
Yeah.
exactly.
Customize
Customizing
it.
the home however
Yeah,
you want it to be.
Definitely. As opposed to renting, where if you want to change the colors, you have to, get permission from the landlord.
Right.
Right. So it's obviously if you're renting, it's you do have that flexibility in terms of adjusting the property to your suit, to your likeness. You have to get permission.
I want to speak of an example. So, I have a client who I took out the other day, and my client, she sold her home and she's looking to rent somewhere, but she's a little bougie, right?
Right.
So she went into this rental property, and the stove was not to her liking.
Okay.
So she said to the landlord, and he was at the showing sometimes I don't recommend, but the landlord was there. And so she says, "Oh, I think I want to change the the stove."
Yeah.
So the landlord goes, "What's wrong with the stove? It's only 2 years old." She was
Right.
like, "No, I don't think the renter that was here before took very good care of it. I
Right.
would like to change it." And he says, "Well, you're gonna have to rent a space because if not, you're gonna have to put it in the garage, and that's gonna take up a lot of the space in the garage." And she was like,
Right.
"Why would I need to put it in the garage? Why don't you just get rid of
Right.
it?" So, as Chris says, if you own your home, you can.
Right. That's not an issue.
That's not an issue.
Right,
But
right.
renting a home and want to upgrade the landlord, sometimes they look at it as a plus, and then sometimes the landlord would take, he's not very keen on you doing that.
Correct. Correct.
Right. Or they're not very keen on you doing that at
Correct.
all.
Right. All right. So the next thing we want to go into is additional costs. So when you're renting, typically outside the lease, you have your monthly payment, and you may have homeowners
insurance,
renters insurance, not homeowners. Right.
Renters insurance.
Renters insurance. So that's possibly the and if you're renting like like from a private owner, it's just renters insurance and the rent. If you're like in an apartment complex, there's some additional costs, sometimes trash, sometimes parking, but nothing major. Those and sometimes some of those two are optional,
Right.
like for additional parking. But the cost to rent is usually the lease plus some other small incidentals, right?
Right.
Right. But when you buy and you own this home, what are some of the additional
You have
costs?
property taxes that you have to pay.
Right.
There's
right.
homeowners or insurance. If you're
Right.
living in an association, there's a HOA monthly maintenance fee that you pay
Right.
on a
Correct.
monthly basis. So
Right.
those are some costs that are typically associated with
Right.
owning your own home.
Something you also did mention too is the
Was-
taxes.
I did.
Yeah, okay, you did.
Yeah, I
so
said
so
tax, yeah.
taxes,
Taxes,
homeowners
your
insurance,
property taxes,
right,
homeowner
right.
insurance.
So those
Yeah.
are additional costs that the landlord that the
The
homeowner
homeowner.
has to consider,
Yes.
which the tenant doesn't need to consider those because they're not is our responsibility. All right.
Okay.
Fixed payment is something to another consideration item you need to consider. When you're renting,
You have a fixed monthly, fixed payment. Your monthly payment is fixed when you're renting.
right? But then after a year, it's no longer fixed.
Right,
It's,
because due to inflation or
Right,
cost of
the-
living, that may
the-
definitely go up.
the landlord may give you a letter. You may get a letter in the mail or in your email, an email from the landlord stating, thanks for being a good tenant, but starting.
However, your rent's gonna go up at the end of this lease.
That's right. So if you're looking to renew for the next lease term, it's an additional $200-300. Now, if you had a fixed mortgage payment, that fixed payment is fixed, and so typically that principal and interest, the taxes or the insurance
Yeah,
may
may change.
may
yeah,
change,
yeah.
but typically that principal and interest portion remains the same throughout the life of the loan once it's a fixed loan.
Right, correct.
Right.
Yes, sir.
All right, and then last, I want to look at equity,
Yes.
right? So when you rent,
There's no equity.
There's zero equity, zero,
There's no equity at all.
none, none
Right.
whatsoever. So you pay $4,000 a month for 10 years.
Right.
At the end of the 10-year,
Gets
you
zero.
take the key, you give
Hand
it to
it
the
over,
hand it
and
to the
there's no
owner.
equity.
You take your stuff out and you leave, and that's the end of that situation, right?
Right.
Now, if you had bought this home and you were paying mortgage
mortgage.
monthly, and you're paying it for 10 years, providing that there's no major dip in the market, your property would have gone up in value.
Right, value, right?
right?
So with the balance on what you own a property minus
in proportion to what it's worth.
right,
Is-
that
is-
will be the equity.
Right, so you'd have some equity in there, and also by making the monthly payments, you're paying down the mortgage too, which is creating equity too. So there's just two ways. So one is the value going up, the other is you making the monthly payments that is decreasing the balance on the loan, and that's creating equity, and that you could use that equity for many stuff to for
Go
college
shopping.
fund, go shopping. Well, I wouldn't suggest you take your equity to
Let
go
me stop.
shopping, but yeah, you could do a
But most people do,
vacation. Yeah, you
right?
could
Go
do a
on vacation,
vacation.
make upgrades to the home,
Right, it
right?
could be used to make upgrades, and it's almost like a piggy bank. You
Right.
you you you're making these monthly payments
It's
every
like a
month.
saving account. It's for you're
Right.
forced to your mortgage payment's almost like a forced
Force, right,
savings.
correct. Because once you make those, timely mortgage payments and it over a period of time, then that money that you put in it becomes yours once you sell or you refinance,
Right.
you can take money out. You can never refinance
Your rental
your
property.
rent your a property that you're renting because it's not yours. So and that I mean it just shows that just by owning and making these payments, you're helping out your own situation. Another thing too is that also by making those payments, if you're a homeowner, your mortgage payment is reported on your credit report.
There you go. So that helps
Right.
increase your credit
So your credit score typically
to
gets a
go up.
boost after about 6 to 12 months of making those timely mortgage payments. There are situations now where I see the rental payments being reported on the credit report, but I
Right.
don't think it has that same impact as a mortgage payment. So that's just one other way in which owning and
Right. And
having a
also
mortgage
talking about
payment,
tax breaks that you do get. Right.
there are tax breaks that homeowners
Right.
get that is not,
As a renter, there's
you're
right.
not
There's no
right.
breaks.
There's no tax break for you. So basically what we're saying and what we've shown is that there's some benefit to both, right?
There's some pros and cons in
Pros and
renting
cons
and
to
buying.
both sides.
Like I personally believe it depends on the perspective too. It's all
Correct.
perspective. So if it's a situation where you're in where the cost, like you have the down payment, or I think we're gonna talk about in the next segment, if
Correct.
that home that you're buying versus you're gonna rent, if the rental amount is the same as what you're gonna pay on a monthly basis, then it's not rocket science.
Right. Home ownership. Let me try and say that right. It comes with its cons and comes with pros. It also have its cons. You have to be prepared to own a home, right? Because you have initial costs at the beginning. You have a down payment. You have closing. You have the appraisal cost. You have inspection. So there's a big initial outlay that you need to have in place if you're trying to own, as opposed if you're renting. Usually it's first, last, and security to move in.
Yes.
Right. And typically, if you have a good credit score, sometimes they can even waive the deposit. Yeah. So the cost of moving as a renter is significant lower than the cost if you're going to buy, because that first, last, and security, as opposed to down payment, closing, appraisal, inspection costs. So all of that cost combined, when you look at it, it's more heavily favor on the renting side. Yeah.
Yeah, but however, it's a from most homeowners or people that are buying, it's an investment that you're making,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So I mean, it's an investment that you're gonna make. So
It's
over
a
the
long
long
term,
term, it's a
right.
long term investment.
Right. So what we're going to be doing in the next segment rather, is we're going to compare buying a property, renting the same property, right? And we're going to show that over a 10-year period,
Okay.
and look at a cost to buy to rent over a 10-year period, and see which one of those situation makes better sense. One thing also you want to take into consideration when buying, because like I said, in the initial state there's a cost, right? And there's a cost to move in as a renter, first, last, and security in some cases, and the cost on the buying side, deposit, closing, all of that. Now, there are programs out there too that helps buyers in terms of availability for down payment, right? And so all of that initial cost may not be something that you have to foot by yourself up front.
Right.
Can also get gift from family,
Right.
um, seller concession. So there's a way to kind of bring down that initial cost to move in, as opposed to if you're renting. I mean, the homeowner is not going to give you a concession on your first, last, and security. No,
Definitely not. You had mentioned before maybe you can get that reduced, but not in today's
not
market.
right,
Today's
right.
market, they want first, last, and security to move in.
Another thing on the renter side too is that depending on where you want to live too, sometimes it requires you to have higher credit scores, right? And so, for instance, I know in Myanmar where we currently live, there are communities that if your score is not in the 700 as a renter, you can't move in. However, if you were buying that same property, there's no credit score requirement.
Right, there's no criteria
Right.
based on your credit score.
Right. So it's kind of, you know, show the difference in both renting and buying, that, you know, either way, there's some pros and some cons. All right, so what we're going to be doing, we're going to be taking a short break.
Okay.
And then when we come back, we're going to walk through a property that is on the market for rent and for sale. That same property is on the market both for rent and for sale. And we're going to look through the cost, and we're going to try to help you understand and try to make that decision as to which side of the fence you want to kind of move towards, right?
Yes.
All right, so join us back in a couple of minutes, and see you soon.
Life is full of challenging decisions. Finding the right mortgage company should not be one of them. We at Loans Hub Mortgage and Finance are leaders in residential mortgages, refinancing, and investment property financing. We have a loan solution for your every need. Call us today at 954-947-8662, or you can find us online at www.loanshublending.com. Your next approval is just a phone call away. Loans Hub is an equal housing lender, NMLS 2220747. Okay, welcome back to episode 4 of Real Estate with the Carters. I'm Annalyn Carter,
And I'm Christopher Carter.
and together we are the Carters.
All right, so welcome back. All right, so what we're going to be doing in this segment is we're going to look at a real life case of a property. The property is listed for both
Rent
rent
and sale.
All right, so what we're going to do is walk through the numbers. We're going to compare over a 10-year period. What is going to be your cost if you were going to rent it over 10 years? What would be your cost if you're going to purchase it and have mortgage payments over 10 years? All right, so let's go to the whiteboard. All right, so this property is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Miramar, Florida. It's located in zip code 33027, so which is a nice side of Miramar.
West side.
It's almost on the west side of Miramar, right? It's listed for $590,900. So let me write that down. All right. So it's listed for $590,900. So it's listed for sale at $590,000. Yeah.
And for rent, it's listed at $3,900.
So it's $3,900 per month, right? Okay. All right. So a couple of stuff that we want to assume just to make this. We're not going to get you too intricate. We want to kind of keep it very simple. All right. So one thing that we're going to assume is one interest rate of 7%.
What would you say that's the going rate?
Yeah, that's right. So that's where really with a 700 credit score you're looking to do. And this is going to be a conventional loan. You can also go FHA, but because of the loan limit for FHA, which is 557, you're gonna have to put a bigger deposit down. So we're gonna do it using a conventional loan program. So we're gonna first, so 7% is gonna be the interest rate. The next thing we're gonna assume is that the taxes and the insurance remain the same over the 10 years. We know that's not gonna be likely. The tax and insurance they're gonna move up, I'm sure, right?
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Based
just to
on
make
the prices of home going up.
right,
so.
but just to make it very simple, we're going to keep those level, and we're going to assume on the rental side that the
What's the increase?
increase is going to be 3% per year.
3% yearly.
3% yearly. Right. So every year that moves up 3%. All right. So let's start. So we're going to be doing a 30-year fix for this. It's going to be a 30-year fix. right?
Can we add too for the rental? We're gonna add a renter's insurance.
Okay.
So renter's insurance is typically about, say, about $30 a month,
Right.
give or
20,
take.
30, yeah, 20.
Right?
You
So
start.
it'll be about $360
Yeah, for the year.
for the year.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna be doing a 30-year fix, 7% interest rate. On 590, put in 5% down, right? So this person's gonna put 5% down. All right, so what's 5% of this?
All right, so let me get out the calculator. 5% of the 590.
Yeah,
So 599 times 5%. It's 29,545.
all right, so 5% is?
29,545.
545, okay, so that's the down payment. All right, and then we're gonna assume closing costs is about,
Say what?
4%.
4%?
Yeah, so
Okay,
we're
so-
gonna use closing at about 4%.
So
Okay,
that'll be 23,636.
so for closing is 23,636.
636. Okay.
All right, and so we're gonna also assume for appraisal, typically about 700
Yeah,
for, 700 for appraisal, for inspection,
about say 500.
500. All right, so the initial cost for this is gonna be the down payment, the closing.
Plus the additional cost.
The additional,
Alright, so
those
let me
two.
add those up. 29,540. 29,545
Mhm.
plus 23,636 plus 500 plus 700.
Yeah,
So 54,381.
okay. So for 54,000.
381.
81.
Mhm.
So this person, if this person A is going to buy this property, right? Typically, this person is going to need about 54,381
For
to
down
be able
payment and closing costs.
to get this. Now, on the renter side, if this person was going to move in, what's the initial cost on the renter side?
It'll be first, last, and security. So
Okay.
if you do the 3,900 times 3,
Mhm.
it'll be 11,700.
Okay. So your initial cost?
Um,
to-
11.
Okay.
Do
All
we
right.
add the insurance or not yet?
You can add the
So that'll be
insurance.
about, so plus the
this-
360.
No, but this is, right,
That's for the year.
for the year. They're gonna pay the insurance for the year. You're gonna pay it
I
for the
mean,
year.
yeah,
Okay, okay.
Just make it for
All
the
right,
year. So
right.
plus the 360.
Okay. All right, so initial cost of moving for that person is
That's 10,
10?
right?
Okay. So that's $12,006 for that renter, and for that purchaser, that buyer, it's 54,000. So right away you see a big
big
disparity,
difference,
a big difference between renting and buying in
For the
terms of
initial cost.
cost. Now let's look at the payments now. So I'm gonna work out the payment.
Do you want to add like moving costs too or not?
No,
Not
I'm not gonna
necessarily.
get too
Okay.
because that's gonna vary.
Okay.
Because I mean, if you're gonna be moving, say, from out of town to come to move to the property, as opposed if you're moving, just a couple blocks down the road.
Okay.
So it's gonna vary. So just to keep it simple, viewers, we're trying to be as simple as possible. We don't want to. This is not a physics class. We're not trying. Yeah, we're not trying to get into physics, so we're trying to keep it simple. All right, so let's work out the monthly payment now. So taxes on this property is, let me see, taxes is $4,394 for the year.
So for the year?
Yeah, 4,394, so divided by 12 monthly. HOA, how much is this?
It's 366.
So it's 366,
Yes.
right? And
How
HOA
much is it?
is 239.
So that's if the property's in an
It
association.
is in, so it's
Okay.
239. 239 a month. All right,
Okay,
so this
you're
is
gonna add
tax, right? So this is taxes.
And
this is
HOA.
HOA. Now, your mortgage payment is made up of 5 components. Let's kind of run through that quickly. So the first is P&I, principal and interest, right? The second one is taxes. Then you have homeowners insurance, right? And see, homeowners insurance. Then you have mortgage insurance. So let me talk to you a little bit about mortgage insurance. So for mortgage insurance, if the buyer puts 20% of or more on a conventional loan, then there's no mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is 0 with 20% down or more. In this case, we're only putting 5% down, so we're going to pay. So there's going to be mortgage insurance, and then so we have principal and interest, taxes, homeowners insurance, mortgage insurance, right? And then the last thing we're going to be having is, what did I miss?
You have principal, interest, taxes, home insurance, mortgage insurance. What did you miss?
HOA.
Oh, if there is one.
Yeah, right. In this case, we have
There is
HOA,
a HOA.
right? All right. So these are the 5 components. Now the last component, which is the HOA, it's only if the property is located in an homeowners association. If not, then this one is not applicable. And if you put more than 20% down on a conventional loan, then there's no
Mortgage
mortgage
insurance
insurance.
lab.
So these are the components of the mortgage payment. All right. So let's work out. Let me work this out. Let me just work this out and come back and give you what monthly payment is going to be for this. So it's
There should be like some music while we wait.
yeah.
So he's added into his software. So you're gonna calculate the monthly payment, which includes the HOA, taxes.
Correct. All right. So for on a 30-year fix, putting 5% down, the 5% down, the P&I, right?
Principal and interest.
Principal and interest on this property at 7% is 3734, right? 0.71, right? So that's principal and interest.
For the year.
Principal and interest, yes, per month.
Okay.
This is per month, right? So we have to add the other factor. So we know the taxes, right? Is 366.
Mm-hmm.
We know the HOA,
It's 239.
239. So what we doing?
So we're gonna add
We need a mortgage insurance.
the homeowner's insurance.
Right. So the homeowner's insurance for this, we're gonna do about $320 a month.
Okay.
And so this is homeowners. And the last thing is the mortgage insurance. Right, so the mortgage insurance,
So let me start adding.
right, works out to be $185 for this person. Now, mortgage insurance and a conventional loan is based on the credit score, right? So that's a big factor that goes in the mortgage insurance. So if you have a credit score over 700, your mortgage insurance is going to be on the lower side, and if your credit score is in the 600 So it's, it's always better to have a higher credit score on the mortgage insurance. All right? So what's this payment?
Ding ding. $4,844.71.
So 4,008.
$844.71.
All right. All right. So we added principal and interest, taxes, right?
Right.
HOA, homeowners insurance,
and mortgage insurance.
So we're comparing now. What are we comparing? So what's the
The
payment?
$3,900.
So we're comparing 3,900,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So we're comparing 3,900,
39, because I already 39.
right? Right, 3,900 for the per month. So at the end of this year, so multiply that by 12, and then we multiply that with
So this should be about 48.
3,900 by times 12.
Yeah, it comes out to 46 times 12.
Yeah.
46,800.
And that's for the year.
This is for the year.
Year one.
Mhm.
And for me, is this times 12?
So 4,844.71 times 12. 58,136.52.
So it's 58,000.
136
All right, 136.52.
and 52 cents. Right.
All right. So a big difference, right?
Yes.
So the initial cost is 54, and the payments over the first year is 58, right? Remember we said taxes and insurance increase is going to remain the same, all right? So with everything remaining the same, we can definitely multiply this by 10, because it's a fixed 30-year fixed loan. So, and we're assuming that the taxes and the insurance remains the same over the 10-year. Highly unlikely, but just for this calculation, we want to kind of keep it very simple. So what we have right now is 58,136, right, times 10.
58,136, 152 times 10. So 581,000.
581.
365.
365.20.
Right.
All right, so let's do some calculation over you now.
So
over
we're
the
gonna
other
take
side.
this times.
No,
Well, you said
but
the increase.
So let's go
Right.
year one. So we're gonna have to. So
You
remember
did
this figure.
46,800. Yeah,
So
I
you
remember. 46,800. I remember.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, so put it up here. Put it at the top. So year one. All
This
right,
is
go
one.
on. Yeah.
46,800.
Yeah. Year two is going up by 3%.
So
That's 46,800 times
three.
1.03.
All right, 46,800 times 1.03. That's
So
48,204.
that's in year two. All right, so that times 1.03. Let me add
the
per
right.
up.
1.03. 49,650.
49,650. Year four.
51,139.
51,139.
62 cents. By the way.
Okay, yeah.
Times 1.03. 52,673.
52,673.
Okay. Times 1.03. 54,254.
There's
54 to 54. I don't play the lotto.
All right, so year seven.
Times 1.03. 55,881.
55,881.
I'm gonna show you round it wrong.
Yeah, that's
okay.
fine.
Times 1.03. 57,558.
57,558.
Times 1.03. 59,284.
59,284.
Okay. Times 1.03. So that's 61,063.
063.
Yes.
Now, for us to get we have to add this all up.
Okay.
It says 46,800
Let's cut this out. So 46,800
plus 48,204
48,204
plus 49,650
49,650
plus 51,139
51,139.
plus 52,763
Say that again.
52,673
673
plus 54,254
54,254
yes
plus-
plus 55
Sorry.
881
55,881
yeah
plus
plus 57,558
57,558
yeah plus 59,284
284
plus 61,063 and what's the grand total?
536
536
506
536
536 506.
506
Right.
okay all right
Not that much of a difference.
so no there's some difference
Yeah,
and so let's
but-
kind of walk through this now so
This movie.
yeah
Go ahead. Go
all
ahead.
right so one of the first thing that jumps out to me is that over the 10-year period, and again, we make some assumptions, 7% interest rate.
It says a fixed rate.
Right, the yearly increase on the rent was 3%. We locked in the homeowners insurance and the taxes that over the 10 years that they're going to be around the same, which we know it's not going to happen, but we're trying to keep this very simple. All right, it was a 30-year fix, 7%, put in 5% down.
Right.
Right? And so with principal, interest, taxes, HOA, everything, this was 581, 365.20, right? This is what the mortgage payment would be over the 10 years. On the renter side, with a 3% increase every year, plus, no, 3% increase every year, over 10 years, you're going to be paying 536, 506. So now, obviously, it's when you minus this,
Let me work it out. So
Yeah.
581,
365,
365 minus 536, 506. 44,
what's the difference?
44,859.
44.
859.
Okay, perfect. Now, if we just did this purely on these numbers, it's clear that renting over the 10-year period is less, right? So you're paying 536, 506, as opposed to 581, 365. But this is where now we do a deeper dive into these numbers, and to kind of show you now, because one of the main things we look at is that all of this that is paid goes to who?
The landlord.
All right, so cha-ching-ching.
Landlord.
Landlord,
It's great to be a landlord.
right? So the landlord is going to be absorbing,
Right.
benefiting from you paying them 536. What are you going to be walking away with after 10 years? Zero, right? So after 10 years of paying 536,000, you're walking away with zero, with this big fat, right? Big fat zero. Now let's walk over on this side. Let's say
Over 10
over
years.
10 years, right? You put 581,000 in your mortgage. Now a couple stuff will happen. One is that your mortgage balance will go down, right?
Yep.
So if you originally owed 700,000, whatever was the original figure that you owe when you took that mortgage, that amount is going to be reduced,
Right.
because your monthly payment is made up of principal and interest. and the interest goes to the mortgage company, but the principal goes to paying down your original principal. So if your original principal was 590 minus 229, so say 590, 900 minus
Say 30, so it'll be
Yeah.
5.7.
540.
Let me do it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's about 550.
Yeah,
Around
590.
550, 550,000.
Right.
Yeah, just to round it off. Now by paying 581,000 over the 10-year period, this principal portion is going to be reduced. So that's one. So you're basically going to be saving some of this towards equity, right? Right?
Right.
Because the value that just by paying down the loan, it's you start because what you owe originally as opposed to what the property value, that difference now start getting bigger because you're paying down your loan and therefore you're going to be having some equity. We have not even looked into the appreciation of the home, right? We're just on pure simple. We wanted to keep it as simple as possible to show what would happen over a 10-year period. So in this case, the landlord say thanks a lot, here's your key. And you walk away with this, right? This big fat egg.
The big fat egg.
Yeah, right, zero. You walk away with zero. But on this side, your principal balance will be paid down. And so a portion of this payment, right, is going to go towards your equity because it's going to be paying down your principal balance. All right?
So you would say then, over a 10-year period, it's beneficial to.
Right. In my estimation, it's going to be more beneficial to be on this side as opposed to be on this side. We're going to be taking a short break. When we come back, we're going to be concluding today's episode. Join us back in a couple of minutes. All right? Take care.
See you soon.
Life is full of challenging decisions. Finding the right mortgage company should not be one of them. We at Loans Hub Mortgage and Finance are leaders in residential mortgages, refinancing, and investment property financing. We have a loan solution for your every need. Call us today at 954-947-8662, or you can find us online at www.loanshublending.com. Your next approval is just a phone call away. Loans Hub is an equal housing lender, NMLS 2220747. Welcome back to Real Estate with the Carters. I'm Annalyn Carter.
And I'm Christopher Carter. All right, so when we ended our the last segment, we went through on a buying side and on a renting. Right, the same property. In one instance, it was listed for $590,900, and it was listed for rent for $3,900. We worked out and on over 10-year period what the payments, making the mortgage payment or making the rental payment. Difference was not significantly great. So we're concluding that, just based on our analysis, and even in today's market where the interest rate is high and the price is also high, we think it's almost a win-win when you buy a home. All right, we're going to kind of wrap up what we spoke about in the previous two segments, just to kind of run back through. So we kind of separate buying versus renting on the three main heading. The first one was freedom. Tell me.
So, the difference in the freedom, and if you're renting and buying, the freedom that you have when you buy the home is that you can make whatever upgrades or repair to the property. In terms of doing the landscape, you don't need to get permission from your landlord to do any of these things.
Right.
So
if I want to paint orange, that orange color that I like, I can paint without the landlord's.
Yeah, you can paint purple, orange, green, whatever color you choose. You have that freedom to paint or make those repairs, like I stated, to the home. You don't need permission from anyone. There's no restriction unless you live in an association where potentially there may be some restrictions.
Correct. All right. Also, on the freedom side too, is if when you're renting, there may be restriction from the landlord as it relates to how many persons can visit and how long they can stay. When it's your home, you can invite whomever you want, whenever you want, and so there's just freedom to just live your life. Right.
Right.
All right. The other area that we looked at was investment. Now, when you're buying, there initially there's a bigger chunk that you need to come up with for down payment,
Closing
closing
costs,
costs,
appraisal,
appraisal,
inspections.
inspection, credit report. But over the long term, what we see is that by making those mortgage payments,
Right. Increase
you
the
increase
equity.
your equity because then
Right.
you're decreasing the balance of your loan in
Right.
proportion to the purchase price, and therefore over time we see that
Right.
it's
And the home appreciates in value too over the time,
correct.
over the period.
All right. All the monthly payments when you rent goes to the landlord either through paying their mortgage or going into their savings account. Correct.
Correct.
There's no equity buildup on the side of the renter. At the end of that whole process, 10 years or however long you're in the property, you give the landlord the keys. He tells you thanks a lot.
Right.
Thanks for being a very good
Good
paying
tenant.
tenant.
Right.
But unfortunately, you go with
start
nothing.
all over again. Right.
If you were buying, then even after 10 years, if you decide to sell, there would be some equity
And
and appreciation
in
in value
value, right.
over that period. And the last area that we looked at was stability.
Yes. So owning your own home, right, gives you the stability of being in the same place over a
Correct.
long period of time. It helps build community, your neighbors, and maybe
Let's
the
hope you like.
same.
Let's hope
You
you
have
like.
the same neighbor over a period of time, right?
Right.
In terms of when you rent, you have to get up and move.
Right.
Like,
So you don't feel like you're putting on rules because this month,
Right.
this year you may be in this location. The next year, you get your landlord didn't renew the lease. You have to move further. So you don't feel like a sense of belonging,
Community,
a sense
right.
of community. You're starting over 1 year at a time, basically, as
Right.
opposed to being in somewhere where you can have some long-term roots.
All right.
All right. Anything else you wanted to add?
Just want to say that, thank you guys for, like we discussed last week about, was it selling? The week before about buying. So this whole process of buying a home is can be a financial
A major decision.
that you have to
Right.
make, right? So, but we believe that in the long term, it's a good investment for you.
Correct. For
right?
you and your family, building
Right.
generation wealth, just building up equity, sense of ownership. The most millionaire that exists exists in real estate, right?
Right.
So there's always room to add more. So start with your first one. It could be your primary residence. This one, next one is an investment property, and just start building up your portfolio.
Right. Keep
Right.
stacking the steaks in the fridge.
Right. Just start. Get into the real estate game. If you're looking to if you have any questions, anything you're looking to buy, sell, even rent, you can reach out to us. You want to give them your information?
Sure. My contact number is 786-214-1436. Again, I deal with most of the buying, selling, or renting. So anything you need in that aspect, you can also always reach out to me.
Okay.
You can find us on Instagram.
Right.
And Chris, he's the
I
mortgage.
do most of the mortgage.
Yeah, he
the
does.
figures. I'm the one
The
that
financial
put
guy,
the
the
figures
numbers guy.
together. Right.
He's the
I-
numbers guy.
And so my contact information is 786-985-1383. Again, you can call me if you have any questions, any decisions you want to make regarding buying, selling, renting on the financial side, whether or not it's a mortgage, whether or not you're on a contract and you're already working with a lender, you just want a second opinion, feel free to reach out to me. I'm very happy to work with you and just to give you the information that is going to be beneficial to whatever decision you're making. All right, so this brings us to the end of today's show.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
please
So
like,
again,
share, subscribe.
right, and leave any comments or
Right.
feedbacks, so we can know. We do implore you to leave feedbacks.
Right.
Also share and subscribe to the
Right.
video.
And click the notification bell that gives you a notification whenever we upload a new video. So
Yes.
thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for supporting us. And we look forward to coming to you next week with episode
So
5. All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good rest of the week. And see you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye for now.